Like, and don't think because you don't want this life. I'm sorry, you want this life. You don't want this grind. You want this life. You don't want this work. So listen to me very closely. I have what I have because I'm willing to do what others aren't willing to do. Like, and don't think because I speak, like, don't think because I'm number one in the world, like, I ain't still human. And I ain't still got demons I'm wrestling with. Stuff I'm trying to, but somebody got to fight these demons. And I can't leave it up to the pastor. Somebody got to fight these demons. And I can't leave it up to my wife. Like, some of y'all for real, like, you so weak. Some of y'all praying. You've been praying for 6 years. You the same husband. And it ain't no way you talking to the creator and he didn't bless you and you still the same. It's not possible. It ain't no way you talking to the creator that has all power and you the exact same. It's not possible. Some of y'all want to be D's. You want to masquerade like D's because you want to be a boss. You want to. You look. No, you're not a boss. You're just bossy. You ain't no boss. You just bossy. You know, real boss. A real boss. They don't talk about their boss. But when the fire comes, they go in on a sneak tip and they go in and rescue stuff, pull stuff out. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get out of my emotions. When I was in my emotions, and I had to go like, all right, leave that to C make all the decisions. All right, E, from now on, all you worry about is the experience. When people walk in, that's your job. Let's go. Woo! Good morning, dreamers. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful day. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Hope everybody is feeling good. You had a great start to your morning so far. It's absolutely beaming over here in Florida. I'm freaking dripping early as it gets before noon already, but it's good, right? Loving the heat, loving the weather. Took a nice session to go ahead and get deep inside of the journal for today. Got some yoga in, ready for another day to get 1% better. So as you guys can see, Cedric, Johnny, Dreamers, it's good to see everybody. The topic for today is going to be going over the transformation process. And I've got a great visual for today. Just really think about where it is that we're at and where it is that we're going, and just kind of putting things into perspective, right? We all might be in each of our own transformation processes right now, but all of us are leading towards one specific goal, and that's to get better, right? That's to grow every day. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get live on IG and tap into today's topic. We've got another packed out schedule coming into the Tuesday, some really great calls, so stay tuned. And let's go ahead and kick this thing off with some greatness on the transformation process. Here we go. Boom. Awesome. IG is here. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday. The transformation process is going to be today's topic. It's so good to see everybody. Yes. Good morning. Rise and shine. So grateful for each of you. So grateful for the community. Shane and Talina, what's going on, fam? So grateful to be alive. Grateful for God. Grateful for the access. So thankful to be present in the opportunity. You know, Shane broke it down beautifully yesterday on just putting a lot of different things through a different lens, right? How we look at it. Many of us are used to clocking in for 40 years and never really asking any questions, right? Why are we in this lane? Why don't we do something different? Why don't we actually see what's possible for ourselves? So great training. I cannot wait to see. Today we've got round 2 coming through. So stay tuned at what is that 6 p.m.? It's 6 p.m. today? Let me know. Drop down the times for today. I know we've got some great ones coming in. Lovely. Good to see you. So here we go, fam. The transformation process. This was a topic that we touched on this morning. And here was the visual because I feel like it relates to all of us. We're over here in Florida. So in Florida, we've got a ton of butterflies all over the place, right? All out of nature. You walk outside, you'll see them all over. And the concept was this, 6 p.m. Eastern. Love it. Can't wait for it. So imagine like a butterfly. We all might see the beautiful butterfly that's flying, but we don't always think about the process that it takes to kind of get to this point. And it's funny because it's just like life, right? It's so easy to look at social media, and it's like we see all of these butterflies, right? We see everybody soaring by. We might see some getting new cars. Some people are traveling out in different places. They're giving back to their family, they're experiencing abundance as what it may seem, right? And we're wondering, it's like, why does it seem like they're flying? Well, we see the end piece of their journey, but we might not see what happened behind closed doors. The late nights, the early mornings, the negativity, the external disbelief that's going on in so many different areas. So it's important to remember that everybody that you see, anybody who's great, whether we're talking about from, the Michael Jordans to the Kobe Bryants to the Oprah Winfreys to the Tom Fords, right? And every different niche, the Leo DiCaprios. Every single one of them went through a transformation process. Every one of them literally transformed into a completely different version of themselves. A little bit more bold, a little bit more confident, right? Taking action with the ideas that's running throughout their mind. So this was a great visual to just really put things into perspective. John, it's good to see you, brother. And I love it because we got a couple of action steps, a couple of action questions to go ahead and piggyback off this topic when it comes to the transformation process. And here is the couple questions that I have for everybody coming into today. Number one, here was the first question that we got coming into this morning. He said, if you look at a butterfly, right, a butterfly can never go from a caterpillar, go through its cocoon, its chrysalis process, and then turn to a butterfly and then go back into a caterpillar. It just doesn't happen, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I've never seen it. The same thing happens with growth. The same thing happens with success when we really get aligned. But here's the thing, right? And this is really interesting because he gave a great point that we all noticed this morning. One of the hardest pieces of transformation, right? If you think about the caterpillar to a butterfly, there's something that needs to happen in between. And what happens in between is the big word change. And here's what's interesting about change. In fact, one of my favorite books that I ever read, if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, it's on Amazon. I might actually have 2 copies. So I'll see if I have a second one to maybe ship out. It's called Who Stole My Cheese? And basically the gist of the story is there's 4 different types of mouses that are sitting inside of this maze. And you guys can go and you can look it up. It's a really great story. But the gist of it is there's some mouses that go throughout the maze and they're looking for this cheese and they hit a couple of dead ends. And all of a sudden, because they smell the cheese, but because they visually hit a couple of dead ends, they quit and they just sit down and they stop. But then you have 2 other mice that actually come in and they hit a couple of dead ends. But guess what? They smell the cheese. So they know it's somewhere. So they not only keep going, they hit more dead ends, hit another turn, go around sideways, but eventually they get to the cheese and they get to their destination. And isn't that funny how we notice the same thing with humans? How many of us, drop a 5 down below, if you guys know some people that have been going after the cheese, but because they hit a couple of brick walls, they hit a couple turns, and they didn't get to the cheese, that they quit. They stopped going after what it is that they desired so badly. I've seen it for years. There's many individuals just like this in life. But how many of us also know the second 2 mice that go inside and, yeah, they hit some trials. Yeah, they hit some tribulations, but they keep going. They know maybe around that next curve it could be there. And even if it's not, it's only a matter of time. And you know what's funny? The smell is kind of like how success works as well, right? At the beginning, it might seem like we're so far away smelling it, right? It might seem like we're just getting a tiny taste of the smell. And as we get closer, the smell gets stronger. Isn't that interesting? But I've noticed entrepreneurship is the exact same way. You see, at the beginning, the smell might not be very strong because we have so many ideologies that we've been able to just pack on top of the years. That's created what's called our paradigm that needs to be rearranged. We might be the type of person that says, I'm not the type of person who cares about money. I'm not the type of person who learns new things. I like to stay where I'm at. I'm comfortable what it is that I'm doing. Well, that's a paradigm. That's mouse number 1 and 2 that are going to go into the maze of life. They're going to hit a couple brick walls and they're just going to retreat right back to what it is that they know. Nothing wrong with that. It's completely fine. There's no such thing as good. There's no such thing as bad. Everything is just perspective. But I believe the goal of life is to be able to grow, is to be able to see what it is that we can do. So when you look at the second two mice, this is entrepreneurship. This is stepping into the highest version of us. Look at the word trial and error. Our mentor said it this morning. He said, look at anybody who's going through a transformation process and tell me somebody who didn't have to go through what's called trial and error. But you see, the first two mice, they're afraid of the error. They don't want to mess up. They don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to be talked about. And guess what? I've been there too. I know what it's like to be held captive by other people's opinions. Until I finally realized, how long are we going to sit in this box? How long are we going to stay trapped by what somebody else believes? Because if we live life on somebody else's opinions, well, we better be willing to buy into their lifestyle. And I didn't want to do that for anybody who was telling me how to live my life, that what I was doing was never going to be able to work. So I kept going. And I noticed that there's trial, and yes, there's going to be error. I had error in every part of the career. I was not great at public speaking. I've failed trades. I've blown trade accounts, put out a lot of products that I never made any money on, right? I've had people lead the business. I've had so many different errors, so many failures inside of this journey. But you know what I noticed? It's the errors that make up the transformation. Because you see, there's two types of people. Person number one that doesn't want to make any errors and they never learn. But then you have person number two that goes out and they make the video and they start saying like, it's not as scary as I thought. They might have got 30 negative comments in a matter of a couple months, but they got one positive comment. And that one positive comment, you know what I noticed? That outweighs a million other negative comments, because you start to see that your message it's not for everybody. You see, your message can't touch everybody, but it can't be for everybody. But your message can be everything for somebody. We can't be something to everybody, but we can be everything to somebody. Remember that. I heard that years ago, and that quote literally changed my perspective on everything. I no longer was afraid to put out content. I no longer was afraid when anybody else talks. Like saying, you know what? If I put out this message today, and even if it hits one person, if one person has a different ideology, if one person has a shifted paradigm, if one person leaves this 5-second, 10, 30-second story, message, video, and they get off with what we've learned is called an impression of increase. They get off that video with a little bit more belief, a little bit more energy, a little bit more fire inside of themselves. And each of us get to do this every day. Think about when you go to the grocery store or when you pump gas today. Pay attention. Leave a genuine compliment to the cashier and watch that energy come back 10x. Open a door for somebody old today and smile and give them a compliment and watch it come back. You see, all of these things I learned, this is a part of the transformation process. It doesn't have to be a grueling, miserable grind. So many people talk about the grind. I used to say that, rise and grind. My mentor said, he said, D, why do you want to grind all the time? Who the frick wants to be grinding? Look at a pencil. Family, what happens if I take a pencil and I continue to grind it? Eventually, it's going to be dull. There's going to be nothing think about it. If you grind it, what happens? Eventually, it's going to shrink down to nothing. And this is what happens with so many people. They grind, and they wonder why they get burnt out. Because this is not meant to be a grind. It's meant to be fun. Every day is meant to be enjoyable. Every day is meant to be an adventure. I'm never bored in life because I started to notice that today is not the same as yesterday. Just because we're on this call at 11, just because it's sunny outside just like yesterday, today is a completely new day. New opportunity, new decisions, new network to go ahead and build, new skills to go ahead and beat on. All of this comes down to perspective. So fam, this is just a piece of the transformation process that I wanted to just go ahead and just bring some light to. That if it was easy, everybody would do it. But drop a 777 down below For those of you that have been on your journey, that have been growing, if you know it's not easy, but you can 1000% say it's worth it. Some of you guys are down 15, 20 pounds. Some of you guys are down 50 pounds. Some of you guys have hit top 5 in your e-commerce store. Some of you have literally have bought your dream cars. You're living in your dream homes. You've quit your 9-to-5s. You've got so many phenomenal testimonies on here. And I know it wasn't easy for each of you. Definitely not. But it's 1000% worth it. So fam, with that being said, that is the training for today. Just touch on a little piece of the transformation process. Here's my 2 questions for today. What would it mean to completely transform? What would it mean to really align with our purpose, to align with our desires, and go out and design summer of 2024? What does that person look like? I want you guys to just build this with me. We did this morning and it brought literally tears to my eyes. What does that individual embody? How do they wake up? How do they greet people? How do they walk? How do they dress? How do they go out and exude such an aura that's just magnetic? Right here comes down to belief. What is going on internally is going to always reflect externally. So even if things aren't exactly how we see them yet, we can build this image inside spiritually. Just like a house that's built, any house that you guys see that you're living in, that you're staying in, you realize there was a blueprint that happened spiritually on paper in somebody's mind before it ever happened physically. Well, the same thing happens here. Let's build this version spiritually before we go out and step into it physically. What do they look like? What do they talk like? How do they speak? And what does life look like when they're consistent for the next 30, 60, 90 days? I'm excited to see it. So I appreciate you, fam. I'm excited, more than excited for this journey, because I know this is going to be one of those summers where we come back and say, yo, 2024 summer, that was the year that we really stepped into our greatness. So fam, if you guys are ready, if you guys are running along this journey for 2024 summer, drop some 5s down below, smash that like button, and let's go out and step into this greatness. Because here's what I know. Water does not boil at 211 degrees. It only boils at 212. So we might be boiling at 211 to this point. And that 1 extra degree to really tap in, to really hone in that emotion, really hone in that desire, I'm telling each and every one of you, this is the year to go ahead and unleash greatness and see this potential that's been screaming to go ahead and get out. So fam, I love you guys. Get ready. This is the time to go ahead and shine. And nobody told you today. I'm proud of you. I appreciate each and every single one of you. You're stepping into your greatness. You guys are doing events. You're getting on the camera. You're doing videos. And this is what it's all about. Rising tides always raises all ships. So I appreciate you, fam. Remember, we can be, do, and have anything. We can hold in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. Let's go out and turn these dreams into reality. Stay tuned, fam. In the chats, we got some packed out calls for today. Let's work.